Today, we're going to talk about untreated mental illness and why it's important. I'm Angela. I'm here to help you live a more purposeful life in your relationship with God and with one another. I am passionate about breaking the stigma of mental health issues among fellow Christians. I'd love for you to subscribe to my YouTube channel so you don't miss out on any of the crucial information about mental health and wellness. One of the biggest reasons that mental illness goes untreated is because of the immense stigma surrounding it. I was recently talking to a friend of mine, and she said that her depression and anxiety disorder had gone untreated for so many years because she really wanted the diagnosis to be anything but a mental illness. This is so heartbreaking to me because her life could have been so much better. For years and years she had struggled, but she just wasn't ready to accept that what she was struggling with was a mental illness. The shame can really be paralyzing. So let's dive right in. Untreated mental illness. Why does this matter to us and to our loved ones? Number one is that if your mental health symptoms aren't treated right away, they can worsen over time. Something that may have started out small can be like a snowball and can worsen. And if it isn't treated, it can really become a larger problem overall. And it can take a lot longer for that symptom to really become under control and for you to find mental health wellness. Number two is the breakdown of relationships and your social stability. I'll say this over and over again. No one heals in isolation. And when you see that breakdown of your mental health, you really see the breakdown of relationships. The struggle begins and conflicts erupt, and you don't understand why the person is doing what they're doing. And so there's just a lot of misunderstanding that happens. And, families break up and relationships and friendships break down. My husband and I saw this not only with his untreated mental illness in the beginning, but also with his misdiagnosis. And really, it got to the point where our family was almost being torn apart. It is very serious, the breakdown of relationships as a result of untreated mental illness. Number three is that mental illness can often lead to untreated health problems. We forget that we can't separate out our physical, our spiritual, our mental wellness. And so what often happens is that if a mental illness is left untreated, we are very much less likely to treat our physical illnesses. We might have diabetes or heart disease, but if we're struggling with a mental illness that isn't treated, we're far less likely to be vigilant about taking our medications for other diseases that we're struggling with. So it's imperative that we treat all illnesses. Mental illness is very crucial to address and to really put on the forefront of our mind. We are a whole person, and we need to look at ourselves as such. Number four is a general lack of emotional stability that makes it difficult to cope with stress on a daily basis. And that's something that can often make it hard to keep a job or can lead to financial stress or even homelessness. And I think this often goes back to that relational stability, because someone who's struggling with mental illness has often lost that sense of support system, and that will give them that resiliency to get back up again and to try again to get help. And so that's why it's so important not to ignore these symptoms that you may be experiencing or that you may see a loved one experiencing. There are so many reasons why it's important to treat mental illness at the first sign that you might be experiencing it, or that you see a loved one experiencing it. And I really want you to leave with a sense of hope today at the end of this video, because there's so much hope in treating it. As you begin to address these issues, you're going to be able to cope with stress in a better way. You're going to be able to understand your symptoms and how it affects your daily life. And you're going to be able to identify maybe past experiences that are affecting you today, and maybe even see how things that happen in your daily life might trigger symptoms, and you can figure out and kind of brainstorm with your counselor on how you want to cope with those and address those. And you can improve your relationship and relationships in your life and establish routines that will help you become more successful. Getting into counseling will give you an opportunity to develop a plan for coping with crisis even before it happens, or coping with the symptoms that you're experiencing. One of the best things that I think counseling can do for us is really overcoming wrong thinking. I remember a verse in the Bible that says, "Be careful what you think, because your thoughts run your life," and that's so true. But counseling can help us to take those wrong thinking patterns and replace it with true thinking, not only about ourselves, but about the people in our life and about God. So many ways that it can help us begin to transform and change our lives. Counseling can help us to process our emotions in a healthy way and end destructive patterns or even addictions in our lives. So it will really help you to address those issues that contribute to mental illness, and can even help you to manage your medication plan. And overall, therapy will help you to manage your symptoms in the best, most successful way possible. And I really think the end outcome is that you will be able to draw closer to God, and also closer to those that you love, closer to the relationships that are so dear to you. Proverbs 12:15 says, "A fool is right in his own eyes, but a wise man listens to counsel." What has been the result of untreated mental illness in your life or in the life of a loved one? I'd love to hear from you in the comments below. I'm Angela. I'm here to help you live a more purposeful life in your relationship with God and with one another. I am passionate about breaking the stigma of mental health issues among fellow Christians.